guys? You're back here in the Tribal Strength Academy classroom for another episode of Tribal Teachings. Today we're going to be covering something quite important to Fiji specifically, the topic of diabetes. Now this is actually something that's not limited to Fiji, it's actually rampant throughout the Pacific and actually throughout the world. It's actually been classed by the World Health Organization as an epidemic crisis, okay? So this is some serious shit we're looking at here, right? The cool thing is though, is that it's a non-communicable disease and most of it is lifestyle based. So that means we can actually change it, all right? And it's actually a lot easier to change than you might think, all right? Now let's get into some facts, right? First things first, 1 in 3 Fijians are reported to have diabetes. Just let that sink in for a second. 1 in 3 Fijians. Of a country that's got just under 900,000 people, you're talking about 300,000 people that have diabetes. Right? And that's the ones who have reported. It's not even taking into consideration the people who haven't gone and reported to the doctor. Okay, so that number is likely to be higher. All right, and for something that is predominantly lifestyle based, it's simply not good enough. Okay, so we can change this, guys. Now, I want to explain to you guys what diabetes is in a really simple way to understand. Right now, basically, what diabetes means is that your body is no longer sensitive to the effects of insulin. Insulin is a very powerful storage hormone, and its main role is to push food, in particular glucose in the bloodstream, which is the digested form of carbohydrates, into the cells where they can be stored and used for energy when needed, okay? So in a normal healthy individual, this is what happens. You have your muscle fiber here, right? Now inside your muscle fiber, you have your individual cells, okay? Now, inside the cell is where life happens. You have everything that happens in here. You've got the mitochondria that takes in energy and burns it to give you energy to be able to do things. You've also got your DNA structures in there, which is the unique thing about you, which your body replicates it's kind of like a blueprint for the building, right? So if your specific DNA code for building muscle is also inside that cell. Pretty cool, right? It's the smallest part of you, right? Now inside this cell, what we have is a receptor site known as GLUT4, okay? And what that stands for is glucose transporter 4. And what that means is that there's a part of the cell that's kind of like a magnet, okay? And so you've got your blood vessel here, right? And these little dots, if you can see them, they represent glucose, okay? So that's the free form of carbohydrates swimming through your bloodstream. When you ingest food, in particular carbohydrates, your blood sugar goes up. So that your blood sugar doesn't go up too high, because that represents a threat to your survival, right? Because it's too high. Again, it's out of the balance zone that your body's always trying to maintain. Insulin, the hormone, comes along and it pushes that stuff along towards the cell. Okay, now in a normal healthy individual, that receptor site, GLUT4, translocates, which means it just comes outside of the cell. It goes, hey insulin, over here, and then it takes in that glucose and stores it inside the cell where it can be used for energy later. Okay, that's in a normal healthy individual. Now, in a diabetic, they don't have that. Okay, so what happens is that insulin comes along with all the glucose, and the receptor site tries to translocate, but it's just like, nah, I've had enough. So people who have abused this system, right, from eating too much carbohydrate, too much sugar, that your body starts to go, nah, I can't take any more in, okay? It's kind of like, the best analogy I could give you would be, think of it like you go to a hotel, okay? And you've got your bags and you've got the porter, right? Now, in a normal healthy person, okay, I'm inside my hotel room. My bags are coming up with the porter, okay? The porter is insulin, okay? The bags are sugar, and the porter comes along, he knocks on my door, I open the door, right? And he drops my bags off inside the cell. That's a normal healthy person. In a diabetic, what happens is that the porter comes along with the bags, but there's no one home to accept the bags. So the bags, the sugar, just keeps circulating in the bloodstream, and that represents, again, a threat to your survival. So that your body doesn't die from that, it will create additional storage sites for that and convert it, okay? And namely, that's in fat cells. So your body will create fat cells, it will turn the glucose into triglyceride, which is a stored form of fat, and put it into fat, okay? Which is not a good thing because fat cells are pro-inflammatory and inflammation is the root cause of all disease. We'll save that for another episode. Now, there are two ways that you can rectify this situation, okay? So if you've been diagnosed as pre-diabetic or if you have a family member who is suffering from diabetes, tell them this, okay? You've got two choices. One is the passive approach. You can just take drugs. Now, this is very expensive, okay? And 9 times out of 10 will result in a decreased quality of life because you're not addressing the root cause. And over time, if you keep doing the things, if you keep living the lifestyle that is putting you in this category, your body will stop producing insulin altogether. And that means that you won't be able to go through a day without injecting yourself with insulin because otherwise you'll die. That's the reality of it, okay? Then you've got a whole bunch of other drugs that you'll have to take as well. And not only that, but because fat gain is a side effect of diabetes, chances are good that you'll have to go on to other drugs to account for other diseases that you'll pick up along the way, okay? The second thing you can do is you can start to lift heavy items, okay? In other words, join a gym. Now, it may sound simple, but it really is that, okay? It's very simple, guys. What happens is that when you lift weights, okay, let's use a bicep curl, inside the muscle, that you're expending energy, right? Glucose, carbohydrate, is energy. So that your muscle has energy to perform the lift, the cell will make that receptor site, GLUT4, more sensitive to the glucose in your bloodstream so that you can perform the work. So lifting weights, excuse me, lifting weights will resensitize your cell to the effects of insulin. The best analogy I could give you is like this. Think of your muscle as like a sponge, right? Now in a healthy person, when they train with weights, the training effect is like wringing out the sponge so that when they come along to pick up the water, the sugar, it soaks it up, okay? In a diabetic, their muscle is like a sponge, but it's already full with water. So you come along to pick up the water, the sugar, all right, and it can't pick it up because it's already full, all right? That's the best way I could get you to think about it. So training with weights is like wringing out the cloth so that you can then come along and pick up the water a lot easier, the sugar that is, okay? So the other good thing that you can do, guys, is start to decrease your sugar intake and obviously your carbohydrate intake. Applications for bodybuilders have this as well, okay? So bodybuilders have an application for this, is what I meant to say. And it will actually help your muscle gains drastically if you can just intermittently pull carbohydrates back, even if it's just for a day or two, to resensitize the cells in your muscle to the effects of insulin. Because if you're a bodybuilder, insulin is going to be one of your best friends at helping you to build muscle. It's a very, very powerful anabolic hormone, meaning to build up, okay? But whether you are lifting weights or not, okay, it's going to build something. So if you're not lifting weights, it will build fat cells. If you are lifting weights, it'll help you to build muscle. It really comes down to how you are respecting the laws of nature and how you're bending them to your will, okay? So I hope you got something from that, guys. Really simple, okay? Please spread the word. This is at pandemic levels, which is actually the level above epidemic, and it affects a lot of people in Fiji, and it's really simple to fix. Join a gym and start lifting some heavy items. All right? If you guys need any help or any guidance, we're always here to help. Drop a comment below, send us a message direct, or the best thing you can do, just come along to one of our classes down at Uprising High Performance Center, the same gym that the best rugby team in the world trains out of, down here in Pacific Harbour. Come and join the tribe. We'll show you how to lift, we'll show you how to get strong, and we'll show you how to live a healthy and strong, long life. Till next time, catch you then.